Ludicrous Feed is proudly sponsored by Carloop Data and Koba Car Insurance.
Ah yes, the Tesla Model Y. Here it is in Quicksilver for the first time. So this is the 2024 version. Now Tesla doesn't really have year models as such. You just kind of have to work it out for yourself as a Tesla follower. There are a few differences with the 2024 Tesla Model Y, which I'll go through, of course, a bit later on. But you know, Tesla, for me as a brand, is very easy to review. In some ways, Tesla is like a really comfortable pair of running shoes that I have that I really should change, but I can't bring myself to because it just works. I love walking in it, I love running in it, and it's almost like a really comfortable sweater or a jumper or a jacket. I just love putting it on because it's comfortable, does the job. In some ways, you know, why should I? And Tesla, the brand itself, or even this car itself, the Model Y, is a bit like that really good kid at school, the all-rounder. You know the one you grew up with. He or she does a great job, good in many aspects of schooling life, good at many subjects. Not perfect, but, you know, they always get the awards. And yeah, there's a reason why this is the #1 selling EV in Australia at the moment. A lot of people like this car. Everywhere you go, there's a Tesla, Model Y, Model 3. And it's been the #1 selling car for EVs anyway, since pretty much its inception here in Australia, when it was brought into the country about a year ago. And there's a reason for that, which I'll go through in my video. For those who don't like Tesla, I think there are several reasons why. Number one, it's a #1 selling car. You know, there's so many Teslas around, you don't want to be another Tesla as such. Number two, you may not like Elon Musk, and that's okay. He does say some funny things sometimes. And number three, you may not like the look of the vehicle. But to be honest, it's an SUV, right? SUVs, by nature, don't look that good. So again, that's a subjective thing. That's okay, you don't have to buy a Tesla. There's plenty of other options at the moment, which is great on the market. But I think as an all-round vehicle, this is the all-round kid that does well at school. Like, you just cannot look past the value of this car. This is like low 60,000s in Australia, before on roads, of course. And you're looking at the specs of this vehicle. It's got a 60 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate battery, which means you can charge to 100% pretty much every day with little degradation. It's got a WLTP range of over 400 kilometers, but in terms of real world, it's probably more like high 300s, which I've done the test before on the highways. Probably more if you just drive, you know, day to day in the city. 0 to 100 in 5.9 seconds, it's quick enough. 5-seater, huge car, huge storage. It's got a frunk, rear-wheel drive. There's not much more you can ask of this car, just from a pure specs point of view. For an all-round vehicle where you can drive day to day, as a family vehicle, even as a big sort of personal mover, but then also use it as a road tripper as well, because it's got the capacity. And we'll go through the different aspects of the ownership of a Tesla later on as well. But that's the Tesla Model Y, just quickly, before we go through some of the more technical aspects of it. Okay, so like I said, this is the Tesla Model Y 2024 version. This car is Quicksilver. This is the first time Quicksilver has been offered in a Tesla. Hopefully this will also come to the other variants too, and the other models, such as the Model 3. Now this is not really a luxury car as such, the Model 3, Model Y cars. I would say they're more premium these days. Model S, Model X were luxury. Unfortunately, they don't make them anymore here in Australia. So this is about as luxury as you can get for a Tesla brand. But for me, this is still a premium, maybe premium plus kind of category. And that's okay. If you'll see inside, that still does the job in many ways. So having a look at the front here, the wheels, these are the induction wheels. These aren't the sort of stock wheels you get, or the rims. The stock wheels are the Gemini covers, which are now black, but you pay extra for these induction ones, which look quite good. One gripe of the wheels here is that they're not directional, so when you're traveling this way, the blades don't really cut properly or aerodynamically. They're fine for the other side, as I'll show you. This has just been one gripe of mine for these alloys. See how the blades face the correct direction when you're driving this way, but the other side is just not quite right, so that's always been an issue. These are running on 20-inch at the moment. Now the Model 3 has been facelifted already. You've got the new face with a more sporty look, but the Model Y still has the old look, which was based on the Model 3 platform anyway. So we're thinking the new ones maybe will be coming next year. No one really knows for sure. So for now, it's still the old facade in the front here. Air intake down here. Some of the higher variants of the long range and performance have fog lamps. These are just covered at the front here, the rear-wheel drive variant. A few side curtains too, aerodynamics. These have the pixel headlights, which offer you adaptive high beams, which I've done in a previous test already, so check that out. Coming across the front here, you've got cameras everywhere in this car. You can at least use some of them in Sentry mode, and also for blind spot indicators as well. These cameras are now hardware 4. You can tell it's hardware 4 because it's got that red tinge. You can probably just see it on the vision there, which means that the Autopilot computer is also hardware 4 upgraded. Now, full self-driving is not available yet in Australia. You've got this option to buy the full self-driving capability, which gives you some features, but not the full sort of city driving that you might see in America at the moment. So keep that in mind when you buy it. Just walking around here, got this sort of black trim now. It used to be chrome in the Model 3s, but now they're black. Now the camera here on the side, the B pillar. And then these are now black as well. These door handles, which are flush, which is good for aerodynamics, of course. Now to open these door handles, a lot of people have trouble with these as passengers, but for me, the easiest way is to put your thumb in there, push it down, and then lift the handle like that. That's the easiest way to do it with one hand. Of course, you can do it with two hands, one hand there, but I find the easiest way is just to put your thumb there. You see, it's even designed that way. Thumb there, hand there, pull out. Folding wing mirrors, and then you've got privacy tint or screen for the glass in the rear doors. Now, because these doors are glass, all glass, they don't shut nicely. So that's one thing. Listen to this. It's not a big deal. The new Model 3s do close a bit better. It just feels a bit flimsy when you close it. So just one little thing you should know before you buy this car, of course. Now, the build quality is pretty good these days. You might have seen older videos and content where people used to trash the build quality of the Model 3s and Model Ys. Just be careful when you watch Tesla stuff like that. It's sometimes based on older cars or first builds when the build quality wasn't as good. But now that these cars are all made in, or for Australia anyway, in Gigafactory Shanghai, the build quality is pretty good. Like, you can't really fault too much just walking around the vehicle. I don't even bother looking at the panel gaps anymore. I think that's old news. So just beware of that too. We've got these plastic skirting down the bottom here, which is, I think it's good for an SUV, a bit more utility than a sports car. More plastic trims around the fenders. And then just coming back here, we've got a small little lip for aerodynamics. And it's a panoramic glass roof as well at the top here. It's all one piece, so just beware. It can get quite hot in summer. I've done these tests before, so check out my content on that. You can buy glass shades, OEMs and aftermarkets too. Try and get some with silver lining, because that does help with heat rejection too. Coming around to the back here, it might look big here from the back, the rear view window, but it gives you a little bit of a sliver of a view from the rear view mirror when you drive, so I'll show you that when I get into the car. All right, coming around to the back again, so this is it's been chrome for a while, this chrome badging. I think sometimes, possibly that could be unchromed or chrome deleted to make it match the rest of the black trim around the car. So anyway, maybe that'll be coming soon. You can buy certainly aftermarket stuff. There's so much aftermarket accessories for Tesla Model 3 Model Y. It's not funny, it's crazy. I've installed a lot of these over the years, and I'll go through which ones I think are worth doing. Coming down here, a bit more plastic down the bottom there. Now, one thing you should know about the Tesla Model Y, the 2024 version. So a few upgrades, well, a few differences compared to the 2023 car is that obviously Quicksilver is now an option. Stealth grey, ultra red, which look lovely. Obviously darker rims or darker caps for the wheels. And the final thing that's important to know is that now there's no more ultrasonic sensors. They used to sit around here, around the edges of the car, but there's no more ultrasonic sensors, and you are relying now on camera-based technology for everything, parking, vision, auto park, all those kind of things. So just be aware of that. I've been driving this week with this lack of sensors. It's not too bad, I've got to say, day to day. It doesn't affect me too much. When I'm parking, it's got a different way of mapping the world around you without the sensors, which I don't think is as accurate as sensors, to be honest with you. And I've certainly proven that before in a previous video. But in reality, it's probably not going to affect you too much. You've still got the camera to look at too, and you probably should use your own eyes as well, I guess. So it's just something to get used to. Back down here, you've got a tow bar, tow bar kit, which you can purchase from Tesla. They'll install it for you if you are that way inclined to tow stuff, or even put bikes on the back of your car. And then we come around to the other side, which is of course symmetrical, no problem. The only difference being, of course, the charge port. We should have a look at that. Push that to open. It's got a little flap to protect it in the rain from the elements. It's been raining this week quite heavily too. I've been charging in the rain, no problem. The house is not burnt down, or this car is not exploded in the rain or anything stupid like that you might have heard online. So you can charge in the rain, no problem. CCS2 in Australia, so type 2 on the top for daily AC charging, and then DC plugs down the bottom here for road tripping, for DC charging. And this will close by itself, so don't need to force it down. And that status icon will change depending on the status of your charging. It'll go green and flash when it's charging, it'll go blue when there's a schedule. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it from the exterior point of view for the Tesla Model Y. Again, a great all-round vehicle. Something you should definitely consider if you're looking for a premium EV SUV segment. Reasonably priced, I think, for an EV. Great specs. Of course, the only downside is that if you don't like Tesla for those reasons I've said already, the fact that it's not a luxury vehicle, the fact that they're everywhere, if you don't like Elon Musk or Tesla as a brand. But I plead you that if you're looking for an EV in this segment, judge the vehicle for what it is. Judge the actual car itself, right? Unless you really are concerned of what people think about you. Judge the car, because this on its own is a 5-star vehicle. It's just a phenomenal value as a family vehicle in this segment. So yeah, definitely give it your consideration. Okay, let's have a look at the boot to start with. So it's open. You might have seen the Model 3s now have this like ultra wideband technology where you can have your phone here and then the boot will open automatically. So this doesn't have it because it doesn't have ultra wideband tech. So maybe the new refresh Model Ys will have that. You can push these buttons or pull these buttons to fold the seats down, which are 40, 20, 40. That 20 in the middle is fantastic as a ski tunnel, I guess, to put golf clubs, skis, whatever you want through there. ISOFIX anchor points in the front of these seats, which I'll show you, but you've also got the old school anchored type restraints for the child seats. And these seats do fold back as well, which is really cool. So you can recline the second row. I'll show you that when we get to the second row. By the way, this is a huge boot. I've got to say, one of the biggest EV boots I've seen. This is a standard Costco bag, which I have in all my videos. So you can see how big this is. This is no problem. We've done road trips in this video, no problem at all, with a family of 4, including 2 teenagers. And there's like extra stuff here, extra storage here, and extra storage here as well. It's really quite enormous. And this little thing here, some people wonder about what if there's an emergency with your charging cable. You can't open it or whatever, can't release it. There's a little hole there, right there, which you can pull. There's a latch that you can pull to release the charge cable from there. There's a 12-volt connector there, which I think is now 16 volts, to be honest, using a lithium-ion low-voltage battery. And then if you open this bottom here, there's a huge amount of room too. Oh, look at that, there's a huge subfloor area. We've got a little fridge freezer here, which we put here in our Model Y, specifically for this area. So yeah, more accessories to plug. And there's another little extra storage here as well. See that? You can lift that up, so that's quite shallow, but again, nice to have that feature. Of course, this runs on heat pump technology, which makes everything far more efficient. You can set the height of this boot. So for example, if I want to pull it down to that level, I can just hold onto this button here. So that's the new level, right? and then bring it all the way up to set a new level again. There you go. And the back of the boot, well, the boot area is actually quite well lit at night time. There's quite good lighting, which I quite like. There's a light there to shine down. As I said, the window here looks huge, but reality is that when you're driving, there's a very thin sliver through the rear view mirror. Just be aware of that too. Okay, let's close it. Soft close. Auto boot. Let's have a look at the second row. Again, privacy screen, like I said. Now, with the button to open the door, I'm glad they've got the sticker now to show you. That's what you press to open it. And then there's a power window there. Again, with Tesla's interior, you know, people comment the fact that it's very minimalistic, not to everyone's liking, but to be honest with you, you know, see, that's the pullback, by the way. Set that to a new level compared to sort of standard. But to be honest with you, I'm not too fussed. Like, you know, it's pretty utility, right, SUVs. So, you know, unless you really want a high trim vehicle, like for a premium vehicle of this class, of this price, it'll do the job for you. Like, it's pretty fine. It's good. It's I think this is all, you know, quote unquote vegan leather. It's pretty hard wearing. We've had a Tesla Model Y for over a year now, and we've had Tesla Model 3s in the past, and they're pretty good. They don't really, you know, they don't really wear too much. We have the black interior, and people like the white, which I think looks pretty good too, and also is pretty good wearing as well. If you've got a Model Y and you've got kids or pets, let me know how that's going with the white interior. A pretty wide armrest. Got some cup holders here, or drink holders. There's different levels too for a deeper drink. Folds up like that, and then we've got the ISOFIX anchor points down here too. Boom, 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 boom. And then you've got back of the seats here. You can buy covers for these too if you don't want these to be kicked all the time with your kids. Sleeves there, and you can see how the seats are on stilts or elevated compared to Tesla Model 3. It's essentially the same. Well, it used to be the same seats for the old Tesla Model 3s. I'm not sure about the new facelift Tesla Model 3, whether it's different seats now. It probably is, I think. And then you can buy different floor mats. They do come with fabric floor mats, but again, if you don't like these ones, you can buy aftermarket accessories. Yeah, you can access a lot from the CAN bus port here in this cover, this section here. So I've done a lot of accessories, installations. A lot of the installations require access to the CAN bus, so this is easily accessible. Check out those videos. If you want to install like stuff like, you know, screens, yeah, that's where you access down there. Just panning back here, more lights up there. Again, this glass roof here is tinted within like 99% UV protection. Not much heat rejection. I've shown that in a video. So if you want to buy any shades, I suggest you buy something with silver lining, because that does help with heat rejection a lot. Not so much a problem now in like autumn, winter, but in summer it certainly does make a huge difference. So pretty good view here from the back row. Your kids or passengers will certainly enjoy sitting here. Heard it being commented that it feels like a spaceship sitting in a Tesla. Alright, so that's the second row. Not too much to write home about. Pretty comfortable. I've sat here in the back a few times. Not too often as a driver, of course, of the family, but sometimes I do get sit in the back. It's a pretty comfortable ride. Okay, and of course the usual door bins for drinks and whatnot. Vomit bags, yeah, wet wipes. Let's have a look at the front row. Okay, so front row, again, door bins, felt interior, power windows, opening door button, and yeah, the pedals down there. Nothing too fancy in the rear drive spec. And then with the black interior, you get a wood grain kind of finish on the front here. Air conditioning vents all across there. And then again, just fairly minimalistic trim at the front here, and then speakers at the front as well. So let's have a seat. Of course, this car comes with powered seat controls and lumbar support as well. I think only on the driver's side. Let me confirm that for you. While we do that, let's have a look at the Frunk. So Frunk controls are from the app, which is one of the best apps in the market at the moment, and just on the front here as well. So let's open that. Pretty big Frunk actually. So remove that leaf. Yeah, of course, more accessories which you can buy to make this look a bit nicer down here. Windshield wiper fluid refill area. Then pull down. Of course, you can also buy a powered frunk accessory too, or powered bonnet accessory. Otherwise, you just got to push this down like that. There, pretty easy. Now, I was going to show you where the seat controls are on the passenger side, right? So yeah, passenger side just powered seat controls without the lumbar support. Feel how flimsy that was when I closed it because of the glass. Like I said, it feels a bit better in the new Tesla Model 3s. Model Y badging. Okay, let's have a seat inside. And look, bar none, the Tesla Model Y, Model 3 infotainment system is like #1, the best in the market currently. There's nothing like it. It's so easy to use. Like, there's just no competition. So that's where Tesla really stands out in its software and ease of use with the infotainment unit and navigation, EV trip planning, all that is just phenomenal. So that's where the all-rounder kid, you know, becomes the ducks of the school with the trip planning and the infotainment system. And by the way, I want to thank Tesla Sydney this week for loaning me this nice new Quicksilver Model Y. It only had about 200 kilometers when I picked it up, so I've added about 200 to 300 kilometers on top of that. So yeah, given a really good test this week. And this week I managed to ask them to upgrade the software for me. When I picked it up, it was still version 11, but I asked them, could you please upgrade to version 12 for me? So I got the software update once I asked that, and now I can show you version 12, which is much better than version 11 because of these controls like that, where you can flick the car around, mini-map in the corner, which you can flick between the two like that. When I go for a drive later on in the video, you'll see the visualizations in full screen. Looks amazing, of course. Have a look at my previous video on that, but of course if you get sick of that, you can just go to the map straight away. So it's very quick, very responsive. Trip computers down here if you need it. Flick between, like, you know, tire pressure, trip computers, media source, all those kind of things. And then the map itself is just phenomenal. Like, it's so responsive. So if I say pick Melbourne, right? Melbourne, Victoria, it'll, look at that. Look how quick that is. Like, I've never seen anything that quick in terms of EV trip planning. Give you options as well, and it'll tell you where to stop for how long. Like, that is why you buy a Tesla, right? I know there's issues with the Tesla supercharger network at the moment. Elon Musk has fired like most of his team. Apparently there's a new plan coming, but for now, I still will recommend a Tesla because of the supercharger network. It's just second to none, so easy. Okay, so yeah, the infotainment screen. We've done many videos walkthrough on this, but just in short, very easy to use. Settings are all very intuitive. You can go through that yourself when you go for a test drive. Sentry mode, dash cam, I talked about that briefly. You can add a USB flash key or SSD hard drive into the data port of your vehicle, which is in the glove box. Let's have a look at that now. Glove box. And it's right there. That's where the data port is, in the middle, in the back of the vehicle there. I think Tesla's taken out their own dash cam, their own USB, so that's okay. Let's have a look at the fridge sticker. Let's see what they claim here. So 157 watt hours per kilometer, range 455. I think that's actually pretty good. I've done road trips in this car, and I think 157 is fairly accurate actually for this vehicle, driving at say 110 kilometers an hour on the highway. So if you can get high 300s in your Model Y on a road trip, I think you're doing pretty well. Don't forget, obviously, with elevation changes, it's getting stuffy in here with all my talking. With elevation changes, with weather conditions, with how many people you're carrying, headwinds, all those kind of things can affect your range, how much air conditioning you're running, how many devices you're charging. So that's why range is a difficult issue. It does differ as well to how fast you're going to. So I think high 300s for an average user is pretty good. Okay, so this, like, the infotainment screen is like a whole video in itself. Important points is charging. You can adjust how quickly you want or how much you want to charge your car each night. Tesla does recommend for the rear-wheel drive vehicle that you charge it to 100% frequently. I'll probably do it at least once or twice a week. You can charge from solar now if you have a battery. There are other third-party, chargers which you can help to get the most out of your solar system by using excess solar. But if you want to stay in the native Tesla ecosystem, then Tesla Powerwall is what you need for solar charging. You can schedule departure at this locations, which means that you can set what time you want to leave the home every day, and the car will top up to that amount before you leave home. Or you can switch to scheduled charging. So if you've got, say, cheap electricity overnight, then you can set it to charge at certain times, of course. Autopilot settings, we'll go for a test drive later on to show you what that's like. And yeah, like I said, there's so much to go through. It would take a whole video to go through each setting. Now, software, let's have a look at this. So this is important here. So premium audio system. Now, the audio system of this car is probably one of the best for an EV. Like, yeah. Unfortunately, the other cars I've driven aren't as good. This is pretty good, this sound system, I've got to say. Heat pump, like I said, lithium iron phosphate for the high voltage battery system. So you can read all about lithium iron phosphate in the manual. And then now the low voltage battery is now lithium ion. Infotainment processor is AMD Ryzen. That's important because without AMD Ryzen, the older vehicles don't get the full benefits of a version 12 update like what we just showed you just there. So. Okay, so I think that's the important points from the screen. Of course, you can connect your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Software updates come quite frequently for security updates and smaller updates like that. Big updates like this come less frequently. Let's go through other things. So you can pull up all the apps here in the infotainment system. Games you can play. There's Netflix, YouTube, all those kind of stuff you can watch while your car is charging, of course. Spotify's native, TuneIn, Tidal, karaoke. Apple Music, Audible, podcasts, it just goes on and on. So the one thing though I must say that Tesla doesn't have is Waze. Now that's probably my biggest gripe. Waze is what I use frequently. It's the best, speed ticket avoidance system because it's user populated. Tesla's trying to implement stuff like speed camera chimes. It's starting to come in, but nowhere near as good as Waze. So that's why I have this phone mount here. You don't necessarily need to use this one, but any phone mount which can put your phone up there. That way you can have Waze running at the same time when you're driving. So that's something I would recommend. Infotainment system. Okay, we'll talk about more of that if anything pops up in my head. Now, back to the rear view mirror. So you can see there, you see how big the rear screen was when I was going through the walk around, right? Have a look at how thin the rear view is from the mirror, right? That's basically a thin sliver from the back there. So just beware of that when you buy this car. I guess you do get used to it eventually, but it is certainly one drawback with the car. Okay, so let's go back down here. So wireless charging mats, then you've got storage down here, lots of third-party accessories. This is just one example of it. You can plug your phone in using these cables here. There's like USB-C ports down here, which are pretty hard to find without an accessory list like this. So I recommend for ease of use getting an accessory like this. Cup holders, no sunglass holder. Again, one drawback. That's the key cards they gave me for this test car, and then just more storage down here, of course. You saw the glove box, and then up here you've got these visors which are still wrapped. You see, this is a test media car. And one thing is that when you're in a hurry, they do come undone very quickly, so just beware. It's just a bit fidgety, but if you get used to it, it shouldn't pull off too easily. These do come out. Oh, these do extend as well. There you go. That's nice. Magnetic. And then there's a mirror here with lights. Hello, hello. And same with the passenger side too. Vanity mirror and lights. Yes, cool. It's still, yeah, original film still there. Out of respect, I won't touch it. Okay, so now to the steering wheel. Look at that, stalks. You won't get stalks in the new Model 3. So gear stalks here, and then wiper stalks there. With software updates, we've now been able to control the wiper level just with the stalk, which is good, and then with the scroll wheel as well. So with the scroll wheel, generally speaking, volume on the left side, autopilot controls on the right, but there's an option now to customize controls from the scroll wheel too. Okay, and in the past there have been issues with wear of the steering wheel. I have not had any issues with that personally with my Tesla Model 3s or the Y. It's been pretty good, so just beware. Some people have complained that the steering wheel does wear quickly because I think it's not real leather. It's leatherette. And up here we've got the light controls and then the hazard lights too. So that's pretty much it, as a quick walk around. Well, wasn't that quick, was it? But I tried to give you as much detail as I could for the Tesla Model Y. So again, I think it's, you know, it's good value for a vehicle in its class, for an EV. You know, it's not super luxurious, as you can see on the inside. It's certainly got its limitations. Minimalistic means it's easy to produce for the company. That's why they can keep the costs down. But if those things don't bother you too much, if you don't want buttons, which by the way you can get buttons with third-party accessories like the sexy knob that I've shown you in the past. There's so many accessories you can install to customize your vehicle if you don't like the minimalistic look. But if those things don't bother you, you know, if you want a good value vehicle that does the job, best in class with infotainment system, autopilot, charging, all those kind of things, then you really can't go past the Tesla Model Y. Particularly, I think the silver, as you saw, the silver, quicksilver color is, for me now, the best color. This is the best color for a Tesla Model Y. My opinion, I know, controversial, but if I were to buy a Model Y again, this is the one I would pick. Oh, one more thing I want to add to this part of the video is that with the profiles, it's so easy to add a profile to a car. It's ridiculous. You might have seen my short video where I tested the auto boot for my friend's Tesla Model 3. We added my profile to his car and it took literally 5 seconds for a text message to come through to my phone to say, you've been added to your friend's car. And that's how quick it is to add a driver to a profile. So like all my settings are retained when I sat in this vehicle for the first time. This is a press car. I've never sat in this before. But my seat settings, the position of my seat was retained, my steering control was retained, most of my settings in the infotainment system was retained, even my Spotify logging was there straight away. It's just ridiculous, right? It's just so connected. Yeah, I mean, that's where it might be handy if you was, say, to borrow a Tesla from a hire company or from, say, a company like Turo or EV, where it's a car share company. And again, that's a huge benefit of owning a Tesla. Now, of course, the flip side of owning such a connected vehicle is, of course, the privacy. So this camera here is one example of that, and that is like the driver monitoring camera they tell you about to help monitor driver fatigue. But, you know, some people may not like the fact that Tesla's watching you. They do tell you that they're not really recording everything. Of course, we've had scandals in the past where employees have been found with user videos from cameras such as this. But you can, of course, buy, you know, screens for this where it'll block the camera. But again, I've got nothing to hide when I'm driving this car, to be honest. Yeah, there's a lot of cameras around the vehicle, which I personally like having for the Sentry mode aspect of it. It's good for insurance claims, or the dash cam Sentry mode, repeater cameras, very useful for police reports and insurance claims too. All right, well, that was a huge vlog, but we'll go for a drive now and talk a bit more about the drive and the car, so stay tuned, more to come. Okay, let's have a look at the Tesla app, and in my opinion, I think it's one of the best connected car apps on the market at the moment. So there's your car right there, controls you can play with, things like opening the car, opening the charge port, honking the horn, starting the vehicle. You can look at the tire pressure from the app as well, right there. You can navigate even from your app. That's where we're going right now, to return the vehicle back to Tesla Sydney. You can even navigate to a nearby charger as well, and EV trip plan this way too, which is pretty cool. Schedule your charging from the app, and security. You can even get notifications if your alarm goes off from your car, and it'll give you a preview of the Sentry mode recording as well. Upgrades to your vehicle, you can buy accessories and software upgrades for your car on the app as well. And there's the VIN, there's the odometer, and software details as well. So that is a quick rundown of the Tesla app. Alright, so let's head off on our drive. So this is the heat map I was talking about now for the camera only Tesla Model Y. Also Model 3 as well. Sensors are gone, so now you've got this heat map, and obviously with other cars around, as you'll see very shortly, light up when you're getting too close to it like that. So there we go. It's a bit of a warm spot there. As an example.
Now turn left onto Melwood Avenue.
Right, so we're going to go off on a drive, and you can see now the blind spot cameras, or the repeater cameras, are much higher resolution than previously with the new hardware 4 cameras. It's one advantage of the new Model Y. You saw that before on my walk around. School zone's in operation at the moment, so we will be careful not to go too quick. And now with the visualizations, you can pull it across like that. It's pretty cool. See the world around you from the camera's eyes.
Turn left onto Warren Road.
Trip planning is cool now as well. You can see how far you are along your trip, and any traffic will show up as red or orange. Just a nice indicator of how smooth your journey is going to be. Your state of charge when you arrive, 59%. 37 kilometers away, 37 minutes away, 26 kilometers. Brilliant. So we're going to turn out here to this main road. That's the benefit of owning an EV with the fast acceleration. Oh, see the wipers go off there. I was just going to say they've been pretty good this week, but nope, they just gave it away there. How not so good the cameras are. There's no auto rain sensor in this car, so as soon as I turn out, I will turn them off real quick. Well, now that the camera's not looking into the sunlight, should hopefully turn off. Let's see. Otherwise, nope. Okay, so let's scroll down to off. Yeah, so that's probably one gripe with the auto wipers. They still sometimes play up because they are camera based. Let's give that one more try under auto, I should say. Let's see whether that has fixed it. Yep, hopefully that won't play up again. Okay, let's put on Autopilot, which is double tap with the right stalk. You can set whether the Autopilot matches the speed limit of the road, and with the stalks you can just hold it down for a couple of seconds. It'll match accordingly, or you can also set it to such that it'll match the speed you're driving at currently, so it's up to you.
Keep right to stay on Babbage Road towards Boundary Street.
I kind of like it have it on the speed limit of the road setting. Okay, so you can see the visualization nice and big now. Little mini map in the corner. Kind of does feel like you're playing GTA sometimes. But it's quite a nice blend there from the map to the visualization. I normally probably would still put on the map like that for somewhere I'm not familiar with. But just for the purposes of this video, I think it looks quite nice when you put the visualizations on. It's pretty cool. And I can see the brake lights as well for the adjacent cars. So you can see that the bus is putting its brake light on. And when they indicate out as well, you can see the indicator signals. So you can adjust how close you want to follow the car ahead, like that, with the right scroll wheel. 2 is the closest at the moment. Does follow the leading car quite well. Now this is by no means like full self-driving. This is like just basic autopilot, so I highly recommend, see the indicator signal turning on there? Highly recommend that you keep your hands on the wheel at all times. Treat it as like a guide rather than the car driving you as such. It certainly does reduce fatigue on the like on the main road, like a highway for example, if you're going for a long drive. It does help lane center very well. It's one of the best on the market in my opinion for lane centering. So I should probably make a comment, and that's how you brake it too. You can either wiggle the steering wheel or just press brake, or flick up the right stalk if you want to brake autopilot or disengage it. In terms of handling and suspension, I think there's not that much of a change, or not much of a perceptible change from the 2023 Model Y, which is what we have at home. Handling seems pretty similar. Suspension has always been probably a bit firm or stiff in the Model Y. Let me just adjust my side mirrors while I'm at it here. So there we go. That's how you do it in the Model Y. Save that. Yeah, still firm, like I said. Stable. That's kind of, it's either going to be floating, buoyant, or firm. I guess it's more on the firm side. You hear some of the bumps as I drive over them. It's been very wet this week. Lots of potholes around. Sound insulation is pretty similar as well. Not much change there. Oh, there go the wipers again. Okay, handling has never let me down yet. No torque vectoring because it's a rear-wheel drive. You can use cruise control too, adaptive cruise control on urban roads like this. It's quite nice. It does keep to the speed limit really well, so it's quite nice from that point of view. Auto wipers, you're letting me down today on the video. Well, in some ways it's probably better that you know if you're going to buy this car. This is what happens. It's funny, like in the rain, it's been pretty good, but as soon as there's any sort of glare on the cameras, that's when they play up a little bit. They confuse that for droplets, I guess. Yeah, that's not really been a fix yet, so that's certainly one drawback. Oh, so on this drive too, we should hopefully hear the speed camera chime go off. You can just see in the top left corner that little yellow symbol. Some of these features do require premium connectivity, which is something you need to know about too. Let's have a listen. There you go. That was the chime for speed camera coming up. And unfortunately, in the current software update, it only works if you have a route guidance. So if you have a route set, then it will chime, show the speed cameras. Otherwise, that's why I have Waze up like this, because this will always be on. I don't have a route set on Waze, but you can see it tells you anyway regardless. So that's one benefit. I don't know if that's going to be changed at all in a future update. Yeah, so back to premium connectivity. So at the moment in Australia, it's $9.99. I've done videos on this, so check that out. But essentially, you get sort of more advanced features with the navigation. So you get traffic, alerts, how bad the traffic is. That's certainly premium connectivity. The speed camera warnings, that's premium as well. Sentry mode notification, that's premium as well. So a couple of things you do need premium for. You can certainly survive it without it. You can hotspot your phone or device each time. It's a bit of a hassle, but you can get around it if you don't want to pay $120 a year. With that $120, you do get a Spotify subscription as well. So, I don't know, it's up to you. Some people have it, some people don't. For ease, we have it because it's nice to have a second shot of what the traffic's like. If you have it on full screen, then you have the navigation turn-by-turn alerts up here. You can see the power bar as well. It used to be up the top, but now it's on the side here. If I let go of the brakes, see that regenerative braking kicks in, right? That green bar shows you how much energy is being captured back by the brakes into the motor, from the wheels into the motor. It certainly does help efficiency. At the moment, you can't actually get rid of regen braking. Now, there are some people I've read online that either them, the driver, or the passengers suffer from a bit of car sickness with too strong regen. This Model Y, Model 3 has got one pedal driving as well. So if you let go of the brake completely, the car will eventually roll to a stop. That's one pedal driving, essentially. Very strong regen, and the car will just hold itself there automatically. Not always present in EVs. It's not naturally an EV feature. Some EVs, like the Tesla Model Y, has got one pedal driving. So at the moment, you can't switch off regen braking as such. You can buy aftermarket products, like I said, to give you strength of regen. So, for example, the sexy products, you can dial it up from 0 to 25 to 50 to 75 to 100 if you don't like regen braking. There's something called chill mode as well. Let me show you this real quick. So under driving, I think some dynamics now. So there's chill or standard. And chill is kind of like, decrease acceleration, easier handling, not so stiff. So, if you find the acceleration in this car too much, then stick it on chill mode. There's no kickdown. That would be nice, actually. There's a native kickdown. So if you need a sharp acceleration all of a sudden for turning onto a main road, for example, you can't have that option. Again, third-party products offer that, but not natively, unfortunately. So no kickdown. I know some cars have that option. Alright, so we're doing pretty well here. Lots of visualizations. You can see the bins there on the side of the road, cones. See the motorbike coming along. I've seen animals now. Animals, kids. Kids? No, not kids, just adults. There's a little child there next to that adult. Didn't pick up. And you can set how sensitive the automatic collision warning is as well. It'll do that kind of noise if it feels that you're not going to control the car in time. See all the brake lights? That's a new feature. Now, some people have also been worried that there's no cross-traffic alert in the Model Y, Model 3. Unlike other cars, it'll beep if there's a car behind you as you're backing out, or if you're about to go ahead and there's a car going horizontal, perpendicular to you. So no such feature in the Tesla at the moment. This is where cruise control is nice. You can offset how far above or below the set speed limit is as well. That's all in the settings too. So I said lots of things you can play with in the settings, which I didn't go through. Just went through the important major stuff. Nice smooth acceleration. And then what we're going to do is drive over the Sydney Harbour Bridge, or possibly under the Sydney Harbour Tunnel, and then make our way to Tesla Sydney to return the car.
In 300 meters,
Okay, so
turn left onto Roy
this
Hill
ute
Freeway.
wants to cut in, so I'll let them in. Alright, so hopefully not too much traffic going southbound across the harbour crossings.
Now turn left onto Warringah Freeway. In 300 meters, take the M1 slip road on the right towards City.
Of course, you can adjust how
Now take the M1 slip road on the right.
loud the navigation voice is. So I'm just going to cut back in. That lane's going to run out. Watch this. Give them some space. There we go. Okay, this is when I'm going to put up the nav bigger. Let's see which way it wants me to go.
In 200 meters, keep right to stay on M1 towards City. Then keep right to stay on M1.
Okay, it wants me to go right, so let's stick to the right side. Probably easy to go through the harbour tunnel. Yeah,
Keep right to stay on M1.
this road is nuts. There's so much construction at the moment. But this is where acceleration is good,
Stay on M1.
just to get you out of trouble every now and then. This is like tradie knockoff hour too, so lots of tradies on the road. And school pickup time. Yeah, it's nuts around 3 to 4, then it becomes peak hour in Sydney.
In 300 meters, keep right to stay on Warringah Freeway towards City.
Oh, okay. It actually wants me to go via the bridge. Okay, I think we still can. Still can go by the bridge. That's fine. I think the bridge is probably prettier anyway.
In 300 meters, take the Warringah Freeway exit on the left towards M4 Bridge.
And don't be afraid to leave any comments as well if you've got questions or just stuff you need clarification over. If you're looking at purchasing Tesla Model Y. Let's see what it wants me to go. It wants me to go via the bridge.
Take the Warringah Freeway exit on the left.
No problem. Let's go by the bridge. Yeah, high-res cameras.
Meters, keep right to stay on Warringah Freeway towards A4 City.
Okay, no problem. And you can also, of course, if you don't want to go
Right to stay on Warringah.
via toll, you can avoid the tolls too. kind of like to have the cruise on when I'm driving, especially around like New South Wales, Sydney. Police are pretty vigilant with what speed you're doing. I know our overseas visitors always wonder why I'm going so close to the speed limit, but hey, wait till you live in Sydney for a while, or New South Wales, and you'll start to do what we do, which is become very vigilant with the speed you're driving at. This is where Waze is good. It'll tell you where the police are hiding. For your safety, of course. Alright, so about to cross the Sydney Harbour Bridge. In the afternoon sun. Lots of visualizations. Let's go. Make it nice and big for you. There we go. Lots of traffic. Is it distracting? Well, you know, obviously. If you're looking at the screen, yes it is, but now, all this stuff is obviously geared towards eventual full self-driving, right? That's what Tesla's mission is, I suppose, now. Wants us to stop controlling our vehicles eventually one day. I guess that's another reason why you might want to buy a Tesla. That's the future you're after. For me, I'm not so fussed. I quite like driving, to be honest. It's still a very lovely car to drive. As I said before, the main reason you drive a Tesla, number one, infotainment system, autopilot system, number two, and then number three, supercharging network, ease of use. That's questionable now with the changes Tesla are making, but they're still, as it stands, still the number one network, most reliable. And for road tripping, there's just no comparison, no competition at the moment. I feel safe with the family in tow driving a Tesla, at least on the main arterials here on the east coast anyway. All right, let's see what we need to do now. Western distributor. Okay, no problem. We can do that. Easy does it.
Now keep right to stay on Western Distributor Freeway.
Okay. Does it want me to go over the Anzac Bridge? Of course it does. It tells me way too late, but I will cut in here. Like that. Okay, so you don't want to watch me in traffic, so I will come back to you once we clear this traffic on our way back to returning this car. Alrighty folks, well that ends my very long and detailed, but hopefully informative vlog on the new 2024 Tesla Model Y here in Sydney, Australia. Again, like I said, not the perfect vehicle, but you know what, for this price bracket and for this segment of the auto industry and for this segment of vehicle, I think honestly it's going to be hard to look past a car like the Tesla Model Y for the value it represents if you need an SUV in this mid-size kind of range. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. It's like I said, any questions or comments, leave them below. I just want to send a shout out and very much thanks to Tesla Australia for loaning me this vehicle for the week. It's fantastic that they're finally able to lend out cars to content creators like myself to give you a different perspective on what it's like to own and drive a Tesla day to day here in Australia. Kind of information that I give you sometimes is not always readily available from some of the main channels out there. So hopefully you appreciate it. Again, I will try to bring you more content on Teslas and EVs in the future. Hopefully the next one I can bring you from a Tesla perspective is the new 2024 Performance Model 3. That should be a fun one to check out. If you've got any suggestions on what I should do with it, leave them in the comments section as always. Alright, well thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy charging.
Now turn left. Now turn left.